Well, I totally can't believe I'm doing this. I am at Potosi Canyon Road and looking to go up the west side of Potosi Mountain. There you can see Potosi Canyon Road sign off the main drag that leads from Las Vegas to Pahrump. And as you can see, four-wheel drive vehicles make it on this road. I tried taking the beast up the road and it became worse and worse until about, a mile and a half up. It was just impossible. It's total four-wheel drive. So I came back down to this point. I'm parking and hope the car is going to be all right, but my goal is to head up the west side of Potosi Mountain, and I've already ascended the south side by a decent road. Wouldn't drive it, but walked it. But I want to try the west side. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk, run up this road, probably eat dust as I'm passed by vehicles on the road. But after a couple miles, I think I'm going to find a ridge right around Potosi Springs and take that ridge up to the summit of Potosi Mountain. That's the goal. I have no idea if this is going to actually happen, but let's go ahead and give it a try and see how far we get today. Well, this is really a four-wheel drive road experience. As I said, I'm going to probably be eating a lot of dust along the way here. But if I were taking this on my mountain bike, I think I'd go about the same speed as I am right now. It's going to be a great run on the way back. What I'm doing is going up a couple miles on this road and looking for little road, Potosi Spring Road, and at a place called Potosi Spring. You can see it on the map on the Potosi West page of Las Vegas Area Trails. You can see that there's a crescent-shaped ridge that leads from Potosi Spring up to the summit of Potosi Mountain. So this should just be a really interesting experience. I would probably not recommend doing this as a family hike. It's more just a weird exploration of four-wheel drive roads and unmarked ridges leading up to the summit of Potosi Mountain. But it's going to be really interesting. Here we go. Well, I guess it's illegal for me to stop, so I'll keep in forward motion for the next 2 miles. Here's the road we're traveling up, and yeah, it's a pretty good incline. This is Potosi Mountain, and we're going to round a corner up ahead and be looking for a way to summit. In a bit, we'll be able to see the summit of Potosi Mountain. You're looking over at the Rainbow Mountains across the highway. And at some point, we're going to take the Wilson Ridge as far as we can. But for today, we're going in this direction. We have not yet been up this side of Potosi Mountain. So, continuing on. the first look at our goal, which is the summit of Potosi Mountain. And you can see the communications towers right in the center there. We've ascended about 500 feet. The total ascent today will be about 4,000 feet. We've got another 3,500 feet to ascend, and we're continuing on up this road, dramatic incline. In fact, to get more of an idea of the incline, look at what we've just ascended. So, yeah, there you're looking at the Rainbow Mountains. And then just around the area, pretty beautiful area. It's got its own rugged appeal to it. The old pygmy forest. So, what we're going to do is continue on around this road, Potosi Canyon Road, and find the ridge. And I believe up ahead there is actually the ridge we will be ascending, but we'll be ascending the opposite side of that ridge and then skirting the top of the ridge up to Potosi Mountain, and we'll, up to the summit. And we'll see as we get up there. Haven't been up there before, so, and there's no markings along the way, so we're going to basically discover how to get on top of this ridge without doing any class 4 or 5 climbing. Definitely not going up the cliffs, but we will be finding a way up the backside of those cliffs. Okay, continuing on. Here's a good look at the ridge line. And we will be skirting the top of this ridge line. Here is the goal, the summit of Potosi Mountain. And you can see as we scan down this ridge line, we'll be skirting the top of those cliffs. So we need to find a way around the back side there. I believe that's from the Potosi Spring area. So the 2-wheel drive vehicles are stopping at this location, Bronco, and what I'm thinking is that they're hopping on 4-wheel drive vehicles, ATVs, at this point and exploring around the Potosi Mountain area. Okay, we are passing the Potosi United Methodist Church camp and continuing on up. This is where the road really becomes rugged, and strongly recommend 4-wheel drive on this portion of the road. Up to that Bronco ATV location, a lot of 2-wheel drives. We're taking that stretch, but as we pass the Methodist camp, yeah, we are getting into definitely 4-wheel drive territory. We are now getting past all the private no trespassing signs. We're now in the Spring Mountains National Recreation Area. And it took me about 40 minutes to walk here. Not too bad. And this is really where, if you don't have a 4-wheel drive vehicle, you're going to get high centered. Bad things are going to happen. Very loose gravel. But anyway, yeah, here we are in wide open area, and we just need to round this bluff here. And on the other side, yeah, you can see the private property next 2 miles. We just traversed that. And so yeah, we're gonna round the hill over here and Continuing dramatic incline, we have risen nearly 1,500 feet so far just on this road. And we are probably 2,500, 3,000 feet below the summit of Potosi Mountain. So we still don't know how we're going to get there, but let's just see what happens here. Here we go. Continuing on up. It's 100 degrees in the Las Vegas Valley today, and a lot cooler up here. We're about at 6,000 feet, and we need to get up to a little over 8,000 feet. You're looking right now at that ridge line, and we're going to continue on up this road, Potosi Canyon Road, and circle around and see if we can find a way up the far side of that ridge line and give you a 360-degree view of where we are. We're in the Spring Mountains National Recreation Area now, and past that 2-mile private area. And you're looking at the Rainbow Mountains. And I know Windy Mountain is somewhere right in that area, along the Wilson Ridge, which is to the left and above that area. And then you can see very wild junipers and pines at this elevation. Like I said, a little over 6,000. And this road is actually for walking. It's very, very good. It is going to be a great run on the way back. It's a steady uphill, pretty dramatic uphill ascent. So I'm not running it, but on the way back, wow, what a run that's going to be. So anyway, let's continue and see if we can circle around the backside of this ridge up ahead. We don't know what it's going to look like, or even if it's possible to ascend, but we'll find out. We've reached the high point on Potosi County. Let's try that again. We've reached a high point on Potosi Canyon Road, and you can see off in the distance ahead. Let's do a 360. Here is that ridge system. We'll take a better look at it in just a moment. And then we're looking back on the Rainbow Mountains. And just to complete the 360, give you an idea what things look like up here. Looks like some camping areas. Very nice. But let's take a look at this ridge system. You can see the ridge system beginning to the left of the road ahead. And so we've got to descend and then reascend. It all depends on what the other side of that ridge system looks like. This side is pretty imposing with cliffs and potentially a lot of class 3, well 4 and 5 climbing actually. And the summit of Potosi Mountain would be behind that high point up ahead. So we're going to see if there is a way. It looks like there might be a way to just skirt the upper part of that cliff all the way up to the summit. But we don't know. We're going to find out. Never been here before. On another quarter-mile section that is private property. There's a camp here. So we passed the Methodist camp, and I don't know which camp this is, but you can see the ridge system up ahead. And we just need to circle around the other side of that ridge system and see if we can ascend that. We'll be past the private property by the time we head off-road here. Okay, it's Camp Potosi. And here is the entrance. And now as we pass Camp Potosi, we're on a road. The road is no longer maintained by the county. So we'll see what that means. Okay, this is a potential route upward. You can see a gradual gradual ridge there. That may be the ridge we want. I don't know. I'm still going to head down to the base of this area and see what that looks like as far as an approach upward. This is the Potosi mine site, and it was opened up in 1856, and the lead had too much zinc in it for bullets, so it was too brittle. However, in around 1915, the mine became a zinc mine with the Empire Zinc Company, and from 1915 to 1930, it was it mined zinc and lead and silver. So this is the site of that mine. There was an aerial tram that takes you up to the mine site, or took the miners up to the site. And here we're looking at the ridge we were looking at a moment ago. And we're nearing the base of that ridge. So I just want to see what the other side of this ridge looks like, if it's a little more friendly than this side we're looking at. So here we go. I'm going to guess by the water here that this is the Potosi Spring area that we're in, which means, according to the map, it does look like the best route might be that ridge over there, and just taking the ridge and heading behind this cliff area, as opposed to finding a location down below. So I got to decide what to do. I might go a little further down just to see what the other side of this ridge here looks like, and see how friendly it looks. If not, then we take that more gradual ridge. That may be the crescent ridge that we were looking at on the map. So we'll see. Some exploring is needed here at this point. And here's the 360-degree view. Okay, I've got my bearings now, and it looks like that is the crescent ridge straight ahead. It's going to circle around behind and then ascend the cliff area, and hopefully it's not too dramatic an ascent over on that side. And this is the Potosi Spring area, right down in this area. So that's pretty much where we are, and the northwestern approach to Potosi Mountain would be this ridge straight ahead. So we're backtracking a little bit. We're going to hit the ridge and then just see where that leads us. So back up the road, and as you can see, the road is really broken up at this point. And I guess the sign that you have gone too far is this little bowl down here with the A-frame cabin. You can barely see it there, the roof. I think there was a better image in a previous video. So backtracking up to this ridge, and we're going to take this upward and just see where it leads. Here we go. Go up this road just a little bit more. Then I want to skirt the mid area of this hill straight ahead, and then I'll just see if I can find the most direct, gradual way up to the base of that cliff. And I think that I'd be able to go around behind it. I'm not sure. So I just want to get up there and look around. Just maybe a quick look around, or maybe we'll find a way. So let's just see what happens. I'm up on the ridge. I can see that a more direct route would be after passing that second camp. Then I head up this ridge, and that puts me on track. So that'll be my way back, will be back down to the road, right down in that area. And then to get a look at where we are, we're on a ridge heading up to Potosi Mountain, and the theory is that one can circle around the far side of this cliff to summit the behind the cliff, up and above, and we'd be able to see the summit of Potosi Mountain from there and reach it. But we don't know. I certainly don't want to go up that section. There are a lot of sections here that are class 4 and 5, and I'm going to see if I can stick to class 2 and 3, and we'll see how far we get. I've eaten up a lot of time just getting to this point, but at least I know where the approach is, and this is the approach for Potosi Mountain from this direction, from the northwest. So onward. Okay, I think for today it's just going to be scoping out the lower approach to Potosi Mountain. And we've discovered a number of things. First of all, here is the ridge system, and definitely the approach is to come up this ridge. It's that crescent-shaped ridge, and you can see where it goes down to Potosi Canyon Road. There's Potosi Canyon Road. Now, a number of people park down in this area and then they seem to be heading up a gully over in this area below us. And you know, this crescent ridge is actually seems to be a better way to ascend from that location. Of course, there's a little, not much, descent and then reascent, but the goal is to get to the edge of this cliff and then circle around the other side of it. So, and it just seems to me that that gully down there, where a number of people ascend, it just looks to me fairly brutal, where you ascend on this ridge here, and there's a lot firmer footing. So I like this crescent ridge. Now, another benefit of this ridge is you can see a camp down below. Down there's private property. It's Potosi Canyon Camp or Potosi Mountain Camp. And there's a little warning sign that there are dogs there protecting that private property. And so, and I've heard dogs barking, so I'm not sure that I'd like to be traveling through that area. And you can see more camp buildings there. But you can also see Potosi Road, Potosi Canyon Road, continues up in this direction, reaches a high point before descending to the highway. I think it's 167 between Las Vegas and Pahrump. So rather than heading down back to the Potosi Spring area down here, I ascended from this Potosi Spring area actually. So I went way out of my way. What I'm going to do is test out a return route that goes down this ridge in the foreground here and then would end at the high point of Potosi Canyon Road right there, which would then eliminate my needing to descend and reascend Potosi Canyon Road. Now, I can do this because I'm on foot. Now, if I had a car and was parked down in the Potosi Spring area, no, I'd have to go back down there. But actually, walking from the highway up Potosi Canyon Road takes maybe an hour, a little over an hour to get up to that high point in the road. What I want to do is mark that spot. See if I can skirt above this private property, dog barking area and land at the high point on Potosi Canyon Road and then head back down to the highway. If that is possible, then next time I come here, I'll just go, I'll walk it again, or walk, run, whatever. And when I get to that same high point, what I'll do is I'll head straight up this ridge here. It'll end up at the same place. I can do that because I'm walking. You can't do it if you're driving because there are no parking signs, private property all over Potosi Canyon Road. The only place that you can park is actually way down in this location down here. And you might see some shiny reflections from the cars that are down there. There's probably maybe 4 or 5 vehicles that are parked down there. It's a great place to park and then ascend. But if you're on foot from the highway, it's not much more of an ascent to just walk up the highway. Walk up Potosi Canyon Road and then take this ridge system all the way up to the edge of the cliff. You're at the same location, and maybe take a half hour longer at the most, but it saves the car from driving on that rugged road, unless you got a 4-wheel drive. If you got a 4-wheel drive, then yeah, go ahead and take it down to the location down here, and a way to find that location where you would then park your car and begin to hike is that there's an A-frame cabin right down in this area on the road. When you hit that A-frame cabin, and I don't know if, there would be right in the center there. I can't see it on the screen, but when you hit that A-frame cabin, you know you've gone too far. And just, if you get that far, head back up Potosi Canyon Road until you see some wide spots on the road where you can park right down in this area. Park your car and then head up this ridge that I just descended, or you could go straight up the gully there. Like I said, it just seems to me a little more brutal, being that there's a lot of loose rock there, and this is a much better view here. Anyway, the goal, no matter which direction you come from, is the base of this cliff, and then go around the back side of the cliff and then ascend to Potosi Mountain summit. So anyway, that's the story of the northwest approach to Potosi Mountain summit, and we'll get another shot now that we know this is the basic entrance area right at the base of this cliff. We'll get another shot from down on Potosi Canyon Road and see if we can get a little more detail. So anyway, that's pretty much the base, the approach to the base of the northwestern approach to Potosi Mountain. I'm now at about 6,500 feet, and Potosi, I think, is 8,000 or 8,500. So there is another 1,500 to 2,000 feet before you actually hit the summit of Potosi Mountain, which is behind this cliff. So it's still a pretty decent ascent from this location. But another thing that I want to point out here is that here is Charleston Peak right in the center, and you look to the right, and it's in the center now, is Mummy Mountain, and I believe Griffith Peak is that high point just to the right of Mummy Mountain. So that gives you a little more perspective where we are. Here you're looking down into the Rainbow Mountains area, and I'm not sure exactly which peaks we're looking at, but these are the peaks that border Red Rock Park. And I don't know, here's another one. So these reddish, brownish peaks are in the Rainbow Mountains. And what else can we see from this location? I believe that the Sheep Range is right through this area, above the rocky area in the far distance. That would be the Sheep Range. And what else can we see? I think that's pretty much the extent of what I'm going to be able to point out at this point. I think that Angel Peak would be down in this area. So it gives you a perspective where we are at this point. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to circle around, see if I can get through this little canyon, and then skirt this ridge above the barking watchdogs and the private area, land on Potosi Mountain Road, which would be right up in, a land right up in that area, and then that's where it should head down to the highway where I began. So today I just wanted to get a good overview of this area, so that when I return here, I'll be able to more quickly reach the point where I am now, and then continue to ascend Potosi Mountain. I hope this has been helpful. Note on this ridge that I'm on here, and it is a very beautiful ridge, a little trail appears and disappears, which lets me know that I'm on to something here. And maybe it is the official trail, who knows. But you can see that there are ribbons that are tied to branches along the way, marking that this is something. And it does look like a very, very, very faint trail. So, and I look ahead and I can see other ribbons, and I can see a route that is leading up to the cliff base up there. So this is actually a very good way to ascend this side of Potosi Mountain, to take this ridge. It's beautiful view along the way, and firm ground for the most part. It's just a lot nicer, I think, than being in the gully across the way down below. So this is my recommendation anyway. Okay, let's see if we can circle around and find that ridge heading back to Potosi Canyon Road. Ridge I was just on, and I've been following what looks like a very faint old pack animal trail, or maybe it's a people trail, who knows, but it led me across the canyon, and you can see, if you look carefully, you can see faintly the trail continues. So I'm going to stay on this and see if this will lead me back down to Potosi Canyon Road. Okay, onward. Okay, looking across at the ridge I ascended just a while ago, and then I found my way through the canyon. Wasn't that very hard. Now I'm on the opposite ridge, and so what I want to do is be up at this level ahead of me, and then see if I can navigate down back to the Potosi Canyon Road. We shall see how that works. And here is the private canyon right below us. So hopefully I can do that. Otherwise, it's going to be retracing my way around, which, can be done, and then all the way back down this other ridge that I used coming up. And then here's another shot of Potosi cliffs there, and the route to the summit is just circling around this cliff in the foreground, circling around the left side, and then heading up. Okay, a number of discoveries here. First of all, from this perspective, you can see the ridge that I ascended. You see that hill just beyond the cabin. There's the cabin, and there's the hill. I ascended the ridge from that hill up and up to about that point. Had I continued on, I would have wound around, and it looks like the opening between these two cliffs is the target to summit. That's the only logical target. So you keep ascending the ridge to that point. Now, I thought I would return by skirting around this area below, and then eventually reaching the road, which is right down here. And yes, there's Potosi Canyon Road, and I've skirted around every private area, so it's fine. However, this is not a shortcut, because these are rolling hills and there is no direct route up to the opening up there on this way, by this route, because you're descending into canyons and ascending, and so you may as well just take Potosi Canyon Road and go past that Potosi Mountain Camp, the private area, to the other side, just below this hill here, and then ascend, and then descend again, because that's much more direct. Yes, you do lose a lot of altitude on the road. If you're driving, that's no problem. You should have a four-wheel drive. But if you are on foot, yes, you lose a lot of altitude, but then you head straight up the ridge system and on up to that opening between the two cliffs, and it really does amount to a much more direct route. So that's my best wisdom from this exploration of the lower area of Potosi Mountain. on the northwest side. Okay, so for now, we're heading back to Potosi Mountain Road, or Potosi Canyon Road, which is right down here, and then back to the highway. So here we go. One more shot of this area. We'll do a 360. We're just about back on the Potosi Canyon Road, and you can see the road immediately below us through the trees here. And I'm hoping that we will reach this road right at the high point, so that it can be a run all the way back. We'll see. Might be a little walking needed, a little more ascent. Anyway, looking back at Potosi Mountain, there is the opening right there between those two cliffs. And then to get to that opening, you take a ridge in this direction, back down, all the way down to lower Potosi Canyon Road, and that looks like the best way to get to Potosi Mountain from the northwest area. So let's go ahead and head back to the Potosi Canyon Road and then run it back in. Here we are back at the beast. Looks like the beast is still intact. And let's see, the round trip time was about 4 hours, which leaves some good time to actually summit Potosi Mountain. So when I've rested up a little more, maybe this spring, it's not gonna take me that long to rest up, but maybe this spring I'll return and take another shot at Potosi, now that I know the basic, just the layout of the base of Potosi, and it looks like it's very doable. So that's it for today.